Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Married at First Sight Australia, Season 11, Episodes 9 through to 12. Now, Chris, it is hotting up. Where would you like to start today?
Well, Dave, we had a little bit of build-up before the commitment ceremony. The commitment ceremony just... for me, just was the peak of this week. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I've ever wanted to genital cup you, Dave, or anything like that, but that seemed to be a bit of an odd game that they did before the commitment ceremony. That was fucking brilliant. Very weird. Jack did look like he was actually touching Tori, I will say, but. So in fact, just before that, we get into commitment ceremony, because I know we're gonna talk about each couple and everything. Fucking the cupping situation with him and Tori, Dave. He can do no wrong, that lad, can he? He can do no wrong in her eyes. Unbelievable. Do
you not feel like they've just recycled a Harrison and Bronte script though with these
100%. 100%.
Yeah, it's just like he's clearly a dick, clearly a player, and she is oblivious to everything. And then he's just, willing to go into battle with other people over their relationship. I mean, Timothy, mate, when you sat in glass houses, you might want to pipe down a bit, but I'm sure we'll come on to Timothy and Lucinda a bit later. But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, fucking Jack, honestly, he couldn't make it more obvious that he's not into her at all. And she's like, oh, yeah, he's so fit, She even says herself, doesn't she? If we don't sleep together in intimacy, there's something wrong. Well, yeah, Tori, there really is. This self-confessed, massively sexual being just is not interested in you, but you've just got the goo-goo eyes. It's a weird one, but I can't help but feel it's just the same script as before.
Yeah, and I know we will get into it. You're right. I know I sort of jumped the gun there, but you're right. It is. It's very familiar. But I will say, Dave, just before that, you said about Timothy. Now, look, we're red-blooded men. We've grew up through our life. If anyone listens to the VHS Strikes Back podcast, you'll totally understand where I'm coming from. But Dave, I always say to Sam, I'll always risk an eye if there's a stray boob going down, Dave. You know what I mean? And Timothy's not happy with Lucinda going topless. I mean, come on. What's fucking going on with this guy? I said it in the chat dinner, but he's literally just Homer Simpson, this guy, and he's sitting there watching fucking telly. But he's like, well, you've got your boobs, and she went, well, you've got boobs as well, and I was like, what's going on here? But that was just one of them comical lines where I was like, Dave, don't matter what's going on. If me and Sam are arguing, if there's boobs involved, they don't matter. Forget about it. It's fine. Yeah, no problem. You're right all along. That's fine.
You go into a trance.
Yeah, like a snake charmer.
That was weird, wasn't it? And you know what? I can't decide how I feel on Timothy, because sometimes he comes out with some really corking one-liners, and other times, like with the beauty kind of ranking test that they have, he's like, no, this is silly, I'm not going to do it. And you're thinking, well done, well done for standing by your principles. But then other times he just comes across like a massive dick. I mean, what is he, a fucking priest? He's like, put your boobs away, it's fucking terrible. Yeah. But yeah, you've got your moves out yourself, I think that was if he's going back to like a 70s sitcom or something, where they used to have like the beds that are, it's probably not even 70s, is it?
Terry and June sort of thing.
Yeah, you've got the two separate beds and you're in the full pajamas and stuff. That's fine. But if you're fucking half naked, you can't moan about someone else being half naked as well. And so I thought he was pretty off there. And considering how, warm and friendly and accepting Lucinda was, to call out his fucking moves, I thought was a masterstroke.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you feel about Timothy?
Well, I'm with you. I think he's a complete bellend, and I think everything he said when they were together as a group, I was like, yep, I agree. But then knowing what we've seen and the way he treats Lucinda, I know she's like an enthusiastic puppy and that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. She likes the sort of touchy-feely part of the relationship. She likes to be validated. She likes for someone to want her. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And he's just sitting there like fucking Oscar the Grouch of Sesame Street, just fucking sat there fucking moaning about also, it's fucking terrible. He's like, you're a dick. I think he's a Cockney
Ray
dick.
Winston.
Again, I can't do it, can I? The old Cockney fucking come out there. He's not an Aussie. But I just don't get what his fucking problem is with it's almost like someone said to him, just sit here, and someone's going to come in and say you're going on a TV show, and he's never watched MAFS before. It's like, what the fuck are you doing here for? We'll get into the commitment ceremony, the dinner party. I thought he was gold, but for the fact that he's just a big fucking hypocrite more than anything. Even though what he was saying was right, it was like, that is the worst person, other than maybe Sarah, sorry, as we'll talk about her later. But I was like, your words are right, but they're coming out the mouth of the wrong person, if that makes sense.
Yeah. When he was going at Jack and Tori, like I say, it's just like, mate, just pipe down. Like, you've got no cause to call anyone out. And honestly, Chris, what I think is going on here, he thought he was going to get someone who was about Tori's age.
Yes.
That's my prediction. He thought he was going to get someone like Tori, and all of the things he was saying before the wedding were about rejection and, look at my face and yada, yada, that'd be the worst thing. Hasn't said anything about that since. And he just, what is very clear, he just doesn't fancy her. And he said that himself. But
yeah,
I do feel like he was expecting someone maybe a bit more petite, maybe a bit younger. That's where his head was at. And so, yeah, I just don't hold out much hope for this couple, really. And it's such a shame because I think we've said it before, haven't we? But, in that first episode with Lucinda, you think, fucking hell, she's going to be hard work. But she just does come across in such a genuine, warm and lovely way. I just quite disappointed for her. And yeah, she's been so accepting of him. I just like her to push back a bit on him. She started to do that with the moobs comments, but a bit more of that. Call the fucker out. I think Homer Simpson, you're likening to him there. He's bang on. It's just like, don't just fucking sit in front of the TV and put in no effort at all and just pass comment on everything else that's going on around you. Make some fucking effort.
And you're totally right. And the situation with Tori, maybe it's that. Maybe you're like, sorry, because there was that little dig back from Tori when she said, well, one of your relationships, she was 23. And he's like, I go with it. And he completely dismisses anything when he gets called out, doesn't he? Where he knows that he's in the wrong. He completely skates over it, doesn't he? I've gone out with girls from 23 to 52. And I'm like, you're a fucking dick, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like him. I think his comments towards Sara and Tim were right and totally Jack and Tori, were totally justified. But again, it's people in glass houses. That's that old saying, in it. When one finger's pointing at them, there's usually two pointing back at you. And he's just all I felt he was doing was, one, he's probably got a bit of a thing for Tori, and two, he was deflecting everything so that nobody went at them in their relationship. I mean, let's be honest, he went at Jack and Tori. I love the fact that Richard just got up and started having a go at Timothy. I was like, fucking brilliant from nowhere. He just started having a dig at him.
Yeah.
You don't even find her attractive. I was like, this is fucking brilliant.
fucking Richard came out the wings there, didn't he? To just throw Timothy under the bus. I was like, fucking hell. Like, I mean, the thing is, I was gobsmacked by that, but then I felt bad for Lucinda then, you know, so calling that out, she must have felt like shit. Like, oh yeah, there's this guy, and I don't think she'd have had a problem sleeping together on the first night. You know, she seems quite, you know, open with all that stuff, and to hear that the partner, who is apparently a massive slow burn, was saying he'd have no problem with sleeping with someone on the first night. So that must have really been a punch to the gut, I would have said. So, yeah, fucking Richard, though. I didn't know what his game was there. The old fucking, what was it? The Democracy Manifest guy.
The old philanderer. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. I thought he was brilliant because it was perfect time, and I thought Richard's going to back Timothy up, and he just went, "Hang on a fucking minute, you can't say no." And he was right. He called him out. He said, "You're doing the same thing with Lucinda, so how can you do that?" I thought it was brilliant what he did. It was like fair play. He's got that bad behaviour, and it was good. But anyway, Dave, I thought this week the commitment ceremony. I thought John was on fucking fire this week. I did. John, you know what? It's interesting because they have actually read the room with some of the comments, not necessarily by us or listened to us, but they've read the room about the show, you know, how it's become so like formulaic. I'm not saying there's a few things I want to sort of throw in fact, Dave, the reality radar is coming back this week, Dave. I've got a little, and I know people are ahead of us, so forgive me. So you may just go, Chris, you are way off your dick. But as we're watching, I've got a few predictions. But John said comments that we've said when we've read online about, like, you know, it's fake, they're in it just for the fame, blah blah blah. And more so, I think, was when he, and I'm all over the place, Jack and Tori, was when he got at Jack and he's like, hang on a minute, the rumours about, you know, you being in a relationship, let's do the maths here with his words. And he went, so you're in a relationship while we were talking to you. And Jack's, and you know what, I don't understand, Dave. I know I'm a bloke, but I don't, and you can completely respect and say that is a good looking person. That is a really, really good looking man. You know, I don't get it.
With his man bun, though, doesn't he?
He looks like a bellend, but I don't even think he's as attractive a man. You look at someone like David Beckham, you go, he's a good looking guy.
Fuck off with your David Beckham.
Oh, in fact,
I heard that fucking story. Yes. I don't
Dave, do you want me to tell everyone, or we just not?
Oh,
I'm going to dine off this.
Well, no, you have to say it out now.
So
people don't listen to our other podcast, and it's weirdly going to come out in the future, in a few weeks anyway. That one. So.
How dare you? How dare you? That sounds so.
I tell you what, you tell the story. And I will, in the background, I'm going to find some pictures, right? And put we'll have a poll on our Facebook group.
Yes. Don't get one that was about 19 stone, though, you fucker. So anyway, right.
I'll get the Glenn Close reface thing.
Jennifer Grey again. Patrick Swayze. The only man who looks like Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey on the reface fucking thing. We need to put that over. But anyway, I went to the BBC. We're doing the radio, just name dropping there, Dave. You know what you do. So I get there on Friday, and it's Comic Relief in the UK. So it's a bit, if you're not from the UK, it's a massive like charity thing that's on BBC where you have like a load of comedians, different people. Even though there's a lot of celebrities from around the world will come and they'll do it. I'm sure in different countries we have the same thing. You know, like the phone in, the people donating money. It's all about like for kids and everything and giving them a better life. So I get it. You know, it's been going since 1986. So I just got to go in and do this segment that I've been doing for a few weeks where you go into the studio and you're talking about, it's a parent bit. I mean, John's 23, but I love the fact that they get me in there anyway. And I do like 40 minutes with the presenter and there's usually another guest there. So when I get there, the lady in reception saying, yeah, Dave, and I know I've told you all this, Dave, so I'm probably bastardizing what I said yesterday, but David Tennant a bit.
Oh, I was going to say, don't forget David Tennant. Yeah.
David Tennant had been there, and she said, like, the lady said, David Tennant had burst in, Starsky and Hutch in a taxi, come running into the studio, did some interview for like Radio 1 or whatever, and then he wanted to go out the back because there was people wanting his autograph and all this, and I was chatting, saying, I said, yeah, he's a good bloke, and she said, yeah, he may have been, but you get this where they're rushing, and there was 2 lads in a band who were there who absolutely were fucking made my ADHD look normal, Dave, and they were just fucking jumping round and like they'd had too many Smarties, or maybe they've had something else. But they were there, and I didn't know who they were. They were probably dead famous, didn't have a clue. So they're used to these people coming in and out. So the lady who's supposed to be on the segment with me, who's the other guest, she didn't turn up. I'd never met her before. So they took me upstairs and were like, right, we need to get you in there. So I'm talking to the presenter, who's dead nice. And from obviously, I've got my T-shirt, I've got my tattoos out, that Dave, you know, and I always have my slicked haircut and that, and it's going grey now and that, even though, as I said to you before, I still think it's brown. And I'm there, headphones on, I'm chatting away, and I've got myself back in shape this last year. I've lost, over 4 stone, so I'm back where I was, say, 10 years ago. I'm really proud of that. That's a separate thing. But however, doing the interview, and the lady who was late comes in, and I'd clocked a few people looking over it. She comes in and she says, she's doing this with like a hand, like where her eyes. I'm like, nice to meet you. Yeah. They thought you were David Beckham out there. And I can see it in the eyes. And I'm fucking swiveled. I swiveled. And I went, I thought, you're taking the fucking piss. It is comic relief. You know what I mean? Is this like a sponsor thing? Are you getting sponsored by someone?
Candid camera.
Yeah, candid camera. They're going to come in. And I'm going. And obviously, I've said to you before in my previous life, Dave, people have said I have a resemblance of Patrick Swayze when I was younger, Dave, but not now. Obviously, that they were obviously fucking, I think it was a sponsorship for the guide dog, probably, when they said it. But I'll go with that. I've lived off that since I was about 10, 11 years old, the Swayze one. But Beckham, of all people, well, Dave, you know me. Fuck me, did that make my day. I came out, I rang fucking Sam. She's fucking going, fucking Beckham, and she loves Beckham. She's like, you taking the piss? I went, well, I'm sorry, you're in the presence of great. Even people outside the studio thought she was interviewing, the presenter was interviewing David Beckham. A couple of people, like, is that David Beckham? I'm like, well, that has made my fucking day, David. So then I ring you, and you were even less impressed, and you were like, fuck off, fucking Beckham. I went, well, what? Don't speak, don't lie. A couple of people have said it, Dave. The angles and the lighting must have just been a split second, of David Beckham. But I mean, what can you say with working with someone, Dave, or having such a great friend who's now a fucking celebrity and going out as a lookalike?
It's almost unbelievable, Chris.
It is unbelievable.
Just imagine when that moment comes, because you probably come in the room thinking it was. I mean, because it's Comic Relief Day, they're probably all on celeb watch, aren't they? They're all like,
on drugs.
Who's going to be coming in and whatever? And then when they realise it's not you, it's like, oh, I still like your tattoos, though. Is that Brooklyn? No. Spider-Man.
Venom. I've got Venom on the arm.
There's Batman and the Joker.
Cheeky bastard. No, but it's true, though, isn't it? You're right. That's a very, very good description. I bet everyone who works says, like, what celebrities are going to turn up today? Fucking David Beckham. Oh, Dave, I've been on cloud 9. We were in. Me and Sam went shopping yesterday. That was it. We went shopping. And we're in fucking B&M bargains, right? It's a B&M, but no, home buy, whatever it is, B&M's or whatever. B&M, and it's like if you're not in the UK, it's like a discount bloody store, and it sells everything, doesn't it? It's always cheap stuff, and cheaper than the supermarket is. And it was B&M, and someone went, Chris, and Sam thought someone was shouting me, and she went, I'm sure, I thought they were shouting you. I went, no, they didn't. I said, didn't say Chris. She went, why? They went, David, like that, and she went, oh, fuck off, like. Oh, Dave, I am buzzed off that completely for 2 days now. It's made my fucking week. It's fucking Can
you imagine
the
after conversation as well, though? Like, was it Beckham? No. Some fucking podcast about reality TV.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, before I lost the weight last year, where Sam worked, he's a big car dealership. I told you then, I went in for a charity. They had a cake baking thing on, so we go in there. It's BMW Schwitz. I go in there, and I'm with Jordan and everything. Now, bear in mind, this is about a year ago when I just started to get myself my arse in gear. Going, one of the women, and I know her husband, I've known him since I was a kid. And she came up to Sam, she went, oh my God, she went, I couldn't believe it before. She went, was that your husband? She went, yeah. She goes, I thought it was Gordon Ramsay. I was like, for fuck's sake, fucking Gordon Ramsay. We've gone Swayze to Ramsay to Beckham.
Did you have the chef's fucking white top on or something?
Yeah, I've got the crinkles. I don't know before the fucking worry lines. I think that's what it was. But honestly, I was so offended. It's like fucking Beckham. I was like Ramsay. And Dave, I had no word on. I'll be honest with you. I had no the nose would be done first. I'm totally railroaded the fucking podcast there, but I'm glad you indulged me on that, Dave. I'm glad you indulged me on my little bit of star power there. Fucking brilliant.
I can imagine. This time next year, we'll have heard it a few more times as well. But no, fair play to you, mate. And you have gone through a transformation, and I kind of. When you were saying about last year, I was thinking that, and they came in. I thought he was showing you to the room of the competitive eaters.
You're not wrong. There's only so many angles you can get it, so you go, I need to do something about this.
Yeah,
but yeah, no.
Honestly, fair play to you, mate. And I'm obviously saying that in jest because I know you're very conscious about that stuff, but you have really fucking turned it around as well, haven't you? So you are trim. And I said it on our recording yesterday, but the likeness I usually get is David Brent. So I need to follow in your footsteps, I think, and resolve that Ricky Gervais lookalike thing.
No, but the thing is, Dave, if you're not taking the piss out of me for that, then that you know what I mean? Then are we even friends? There's something wrong. You've got to rip me. That's the whole point. But anyway, sorry, I totally went off then. But getting back to Jack and Tori was like, John's just like, saying about like the fucking, you've been here for the fame, the time scales don't matter. And he admitted it. But what made it even worse, Dave, and this is where you were, and you're right, this is where I put my notes about Bronte and Harrison, was Tori doubled down on it. She went, I don't care about that. He's with me now. From the minute he got married to me, that's it. And I'm like, but do you not realize he's faking you? You want this acceptance off this fucking guy who is more interested in looking at himself in a mirror and thinks that he's Christian Grey, because really what that means is he's very insecure. He doesn't know how to deal with women. And what he wants to do is just dominate you because he doesn't have any emotion outside the fucking gym, protein shakes and eating fucking boiled eggs. So he's just weird, Dave. And he absolutely loves himself. And I don't like him. I think it's bringing a bad side out of Tori, which unfortunately, as this has gone on, I'm like, well, you reap what you sow. If he does shit on you, which he probably will, what I mean? I hope not, because she seemed like a really lovely girl. But
you say about shitting on him. Oh no, sorry, him shitting on her. So when when he was doing his interviews and stuff, and he's getting asked about, his sexual appetites and all of this stuff, and he's saying, I'm not vanilla. And then Alessandra is asking, well, what flavor are you? And he's saying, I'm all the flavors, put loads of sprinkles on it, stick it in the microwave. And it's like, what does that actually fucking mean? It doesn't mean anything. But they bleeped it out. They sort of bleeped it out, and then they they starred out the words on the bottom of the screen there. But it looked to me, Chris, when they were filling out their preferences and matching them up and stuff, it looked like golden showers. Did you see that bit? Yeah,
I did see that.
And Tori's
that was just me.
So Tori's like, oh no, definitely not. So at least we got a window there into one of the things. Obviously we don't know which way round. Who's the fire hydrant? But yeah, I had to call that bit out because you talked about him shitting on her.
Right, anyway, Dave, moving on. So what did you think this week? I thought it was brilliant this week, Sara and Tim. We get the commitment ceremony, and Tim has not been able to speak, has he? The experts had seen it when they were watching it, the dinner party last week, and then this week, there's been that little bit of thing again. But when it comes to it, John just calls her out and he's like, look, this has got to stop. You're not letting him speak. Soon as Tim spoke, and he actually spoke up properly, didn't he? And he said he's not happy, blah, blah, blah. She's going out all the time on the piss and everything, which we've seen this with other contestants on MAFS, haven't they? They just see it as a freebie for fucking 3 or 4 weeks and stuff. And if she's supposed to be buying into the show, which we know she isn't, we know it's utter bullshit, but he calls her. And as soon as Tim expressed himself, Dave, it was like that when your kid embarrasses you at a fucking friend's house or something. Wait till we get home. And that's exactly what she said. It was like, we'll talk later. And I'm like, You're not a good person. You are not a good person. And you're very controlling, just like what we're saying about Jack and Tori and things like that. She's very controlling. And Tim, he stood up for himself eventually at the dinner party, didn't he? He did stand up for himself. But what was the best? She's talking at him. She's fucking shouting at him. He raises his voice once. And he said, afterwards, I shouldn't have done that. I really shouldn't have. I'm trying to be a better person. But what can you do when someone is totally deluded, doesn't like any criticism, he's always in the right, and then does the same thing? It's like that. What was the show he did? It was the other week where it was used the crystal, but basically the crystal was, I can speak.
It was Love Island, wasn't it?
Love Island. I can speak with the crystal, but you can't.
Georgia H, wasn't it? It was like
Georgia H.
When we have the crystal, we can speak, but when you have the crystal, I can also speak.
yeah, you just can't. Just remember that. And that's what it was like, wasn't it? It was like, you are in the wrong. You're not a good person. This is Sarah's. I'm speaking as if I'm Sarah. But she's a complete fucking bellend, isn't she? She's a controlling bellend, and I don't like it. I think Tim, he's got to keep standing up for himself, and he was saying it on camera. I just don't think he's got, at the moment, it may change. He's got the balls to stand up to her when they're face to face, but that's coming, isn't it? And she just doesn't listen.
No, and I don't see what Tim can do differently, because so going right back to last week, the whole phone thing that came up in the commitment ceremony, didn't it? And
yes,
to be fair, she got called out, but not as much as she should have done, and it's sort of made, she's gaslighting him. She's turning it around that it's his problem. He's so fucking needy, basically. It's like, he needs this constant reassurance, about us, and because he's been cheating on and stuff. You literally, in a challenge that we all knew was coming, you wouldn't hand over your fucking phone. So, but it's not Tim's problem. He's got every fucking right. And we all know there is something dodgy on there, right? I'm still not convinced that she's not still seeing her ex that was on and off again for 5 years or whatever. That is a much worse situation than the whole Tim thing, which, he was due to marry someone and then they broke up 6 months ago. Her situation is worse and more suspicious to me. But the fact that he's trying to set up these dates, she's just not really asked. She's sort of having a great time, going out with her friends and stuff. So he's making all of the effort. But what was so infuriating, Chris, and it was just at the dinner party, she's literally raising her voice to him, shouting at him.
Yeah.
And then you can see he can't get a fucking word in. And so eventually he fucking raises his voice like once, like you say, and then she runs off crying. Don't you ever raise your voice to me, despite fucking shouting in his face for the last however long it was. And I was just, and then he, of course, he's the bad guy then, isn't he? He's the fucking arsehole, and he's like, I shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have raised my voice. Probably, but I don't know. You couldn't get a fucking word in. So, you kind of have to defend your corner as well. And I don't know if it's because, he's trying to let things slide, and she just fucking essentially, like say, gaslights him, bullies him. But yeah, she is fucking horrible, Chris. Absolutely. Grade A, see you next Tuesday. And I don't know. I wonder where this couple goes. But I mean, if if that was me, I'd be off. I mean, you just wouldn't fucking put up with that shit. But obviously, they all really want to stay on the show, so there is that. I wonder what the experts are going to say regarding that behavior, and how are they going to see it? Because I do feel like they might try and be balanced on it and give Tim as much of a hard time as Sarah, but I think she's the one utterly in the wrong. And even the other wives, even the other girls, like, sort of gently say it on the side to the camera. They don't bring it up in a group situation. Well, I think it's clear what's going on there.
Yeah, and you're right. As I think when she stormed off about you dare speak to me and all that, Tori did say, well, she's just been doing that to him at one point. That was actually, she did say that, which was good. But then the one who got me, Dave, was Cassandra. She went at her. She was the only one who actually went at her and said about her behavior. She actually called her out, which was interesting to see that, because what I don't like is when we watch these shows and the guys do it and the girls do it, is when they know that their friend is in the wrong, they all double down, don't they? Call and go, that's terrible. But there was just a couple who, like say, Tori did say it to the camera, like you said, she didn't say it to Sarah's face, but Cassandra was the one who did tackle her, and Sarah didn't know what to do. And that's the whole point with Sarah. She wants her own way all the time, doesn't she? She's in the right, you're in the wrong, you need to listen to me. And when I'm crying, even though I'm being an utter bellend, I don't care, because I want that fucking spotlight. So yeah, I hope they do. I think you're right.
Who's Cassandra? Is it
with
Cassandra,
Tristan?
the name?
Yeah, Cassandra. Yeah, with Tristan.
Oh yes, you're right. Yes. Yeah. I sort of forgot about that bit. You're right. She was the only one. Yeah.
She called her out, and that was really good to do that, because it was like, no, good on you. You might be friends, but you can't call out bad behavior. You can't just ignore bad behavior, because I think what Cassandra sees it as, she would expect that backing from Sarah as well. Sarah did the same thing. The whole thing's going on, and then Sarah's calling out Ben and Ellie, and she's saying, yeah, you're lying and all this. And I'm like, okay, Pinocchio, you're not really, again, like Timothy, you're not in any position to call anybody, considering what you've been doing, and the way you've been treating. So I love that. Sarah's the type of contestant, like Timothy is and all that. You need him in MAFS, Dave. These are the bellends that we need, because the show would be terrible. We you know what I mean? I'd be like, yeah, it's what's his name? They're absolutely, get them off the show. But then when they leave, you're like, oh, it's pretty fucking shit now. You know what I mean? So you need the hypocrisy. You need that lack of self-awareness to make the show tick over. And that's what I love about MAFS. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're the bellends we need, Chris, but I think they are the bellends we deserve.
Go on, do it.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know. It's not as if I'm going to break out the Bane impression at every opportunity.
A hero can be even a man putting a coat. Anyway, that was my fucking Christian Bale, Dave.
It's a fucking deep cut, isn't it? I mean,
we love it. We do it at any opportunity, them impressions, don't we? Your Bane's classic, absolutely brilliant. Wait, no one's heard on this podcast you Christopher Lambert, though, Dave, the old Highlander. Now that's fucking magical impression. I'll give you that. That is very good.
You mean the hold on? There can be only one.
I always get it wrong, don't I, on the Friday? So
anyway, but before we get into some of the other couples, though, Chris, I mean, we started off the week, didn't we, with Natalie and Collins? They'd actually given it a bit more of a go. I mean, do you think there is anyone who is a worse actor in any of the reality TV? Because I'm putting it straight out there. I don't think I've seen a worse actor on reality TV in anything. Collins, his whole performance. What did you make to that before they went?
I thought it was the greatest thing I've seen. And you're saying about reality TV, I think it was the worst bit of acting I've ever seen. And me and you review fucking movies every week.
We've seen some pretty terrible acting.
We've seen some bad acting. I love that. So obviously she calls him out, don't they? They get to the thing and she's upset and everything, quite rightly, and when he sat with fucking John and that. And what was really good, Dave, they actually leaned into it. Even the production was like, we can't let this fucking go. The next day, all the girls were in the tracky bottoms, weren't they? But it was that with whole thing when she went, he's just not here. I just think he's here for the show and everything. Fair play to Natalie. She didn't raise a voice. She was dead respectful. And then he just went, oh my God. Oh my God. I don't believe it. Oh my. And he put his head in his hands. He's looking up. And then John's going, can you just make the decision? Can you just make the decision? He kept saying it, didn't he? You can see John was getting annoyed. He's like, Collins, just make your decision. She said she wants to leave. And he's trying to, and he must have said it about 5 times. I was fucking crying, Dave. And he was just so fake, but also it was fucking glorious. What an absolute classic bit of MAFS fucking history we were watching.
I mean, it took such a massive turn, didn't it? I mean, she does, bless her, she does come across in that authentic way, or tremendous acting is one of those two. But him, it's just terrible. And the thing is, it went from like the comedy stuff, and he said, oh no, what am I going to do? You know, because I want to stay, but I don't want to make my wife. I thought it was particularly shitty when he was saying, he was basically blaming her for her grief. That was awful. The problem. That was a particular. So, you know, any empathy that I had sort of went out the window at that point. It's just like, no, mate, you're a fucking dick. But talk about going down swinging, because when he gets caught out for his bullshit, and you can see the rest of the, I mean, obviously they could edit this in. It's not necessarily happening in real time, but when John's asking, you know, what's he going to do? And he's like, but you're the experts. You're the expert. Come on, John. What have you got?
Good impression. That.
He's really going after John. Honestly, talk about buttock clenchingly embarrassing. It went beyond the point where I'm just laughing, where I'm watching through my fingers. I'm just like, oh, make it stop. Make it stop. But it was like he was going down swinging, and he'd got onto this. He'd fixated on this thing that, you know, the experts, and there was a little part of me that was thinking, yeah, fucking call her out.
Yeah.
Give me some advice, you bastards. But no, it was just horrendous but glorious. I agree. I loved it.
I did. And you're right. And I do think when he said to John, he went, well, you're supposed to be giving me advice. And John's going, stop deflecting. And I'm like, no, but he is sort of right what he's saying. Sort of right, yeah. Even though I love John and I think he's fucking because at this point, good old Paul in the UK would be going, that's no problem. You just sit in the corner. We'll let you stay a bit longer,
just
my
think
friend.
Of the love.
Yeah, think of the love. Is there any way we can get this back, guys? Yeah, no problem. But John's like, fuck that. Get off. He was like a kid when the parents are like, well, you just make it when you're in a shop saying like, do you want a bar of chocolate or something? And he's like, yeah, but what do you want? I don't know. Look, we've got to go. Well, you just hurry up now. He's like, come on, make a decision. Oh, Dave, it was fucking brilliant. And the thing is as well with that, because of that whole thing, and she said it, Natalie, the next day, she's like, he just wants to stay for the show. And they hugged, didn't they? And even Collins is looking at the camera like, I don't know what I'm going to do now. No, I'll tell you what you're going to do, mate. Get your bags and fuck off, because we don't want to see you again. There's no way you're getting a redemption story in this show. You've been absolutely exposed as a complete faker. So I did respect the fact that they didn't really get, Collins didn't get any send-off, did he? Natalie did, he didn't. And I thought that was the right choice for the show. But yeah, Dave, me and you I texted in and say I was a little bit ahead and I was going, I cannot wait for you to see this bit. Yeah. This is unbelievable. Me and Sam were like, for fuck's sake. I was the same. I had my head in my hands going, oh my God, what is he doing? You know, like it was just brilliant. You know, you got someone like Jack who's in there. He knows, like Bronte and Harrison last season, you know they're in there, but they're playing the game, aren't they?
Yeah.
Harrison had backed Bronte until the point where he couldn't. And Bronte was just like, yeah, Harrison's just cheated on you with 7 women. Yeah, but, you know, we've had a chat. We're just going to stick together. It's fine. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, okay, bullshit. But you can go with that, even though we were frustrated knowing it was fake. He just couldn't hide his fakeness, and that's what I loved about the whole thing. That Oscar nominated fucking, he was getting a gold. Is it a Razzie, whatever it's called? He wasn't getting a fucking Oscar for that. He was getting a Razzie, whatever they're called. Fucking hell. But Dave, again, like you said at the top of the show, I am all in on this. It is
Yeah.
gloriously a car crash TV, and I just love it. I love the hypocrisy across every single one. I mean, I said about Ben and Ellie, and
Oh
one
my
minute he
God.
doesn't want kids, and they've gone under the radar really because of the drama of the characters. I'm sure they're going to become front and center as we go on. But then he wants kids, Dave, and everything, and I'm like, is this because you got called out by Sarah and that Sarah's a dick? She was right. What she was saying to you? He is just off, Dave, isn't he? He's the podcast guy, everything. I think all that is right. He is.
It blows my mind. The idea. It's not like you've got your own TV show.
No.
I've said it many times, but we're like the Wayne's World of the podcast world.
Yeah.
Certainly not Joe Rogan with all these producers and editors. And creating your podcast is really not that big a deal. But it seems to be for him. But they went on a journey this week, didn't they? And I can't decide in my own mind how much sympathy I've got for Ellie because she's got all the red flags around her. He seems like he's gone in there with a plan. He's a slightly better actor than Collins, but like you say, he raises the bar on bad acting. In fact, we just recorded, haven't we? It's going to come out in a few weeks. The Castle, so from 1997, a low budget Aussie movie. I mean, Collins's acting would be fitting for that. In fact, I think he'd stand out for being so bad in a really low budget Aussie movie. But yeah, so Ben, he's just horrible, isn't he? For me, he's gone in there with the plan, it's to promote himself and whatever, but he's just not very good at keeping up the mask. And he's just a bit of a tool, isn't he? I think. And you can see, because she'd come back, hadn't she? They'd obviously gone out for a drink and whatever, and he's taken the piss out of her because, she's there for love, she's saying. And he's apparently saying, oh, yeah, you're there for love, doing the old in-betweeners thing. Oh, friends. And so, there was that. And then he's not interested in having kids or anything. Those are not his priorities. He's worming his way out of the whole discussion. I'm not saying I'm not open to the idea of having kids or whatever. It's like, look, fuck off with your word soup. Just come out and say it. You don't want it. And she obviously does. So you are grossly mismatched. And these are one of the couples that the experts are just fucking around with. But when he did that 180, it's like, yeah, had a thought about it. And we were talking with the lads and that, and I really want kids. And it was just, it's just great. I heard my nephew and niece in the background, or it was some bullshit story, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, fucking hell. In that moment, I did think he was on par. He was at least in the same ballpark of bad acting as Collins was.
Oh, he was brilliant. He was brilliant. And you're right, Dave, because I think the problem is with this, they are getting aware of it. They're getting aware of the audience perception of the fakeness, aren't they now? We say about the producers' DNA and all these shows, we know that. But I have liked that refreshing side of like the experts sort of saying about, well, what are your real intentions? Well, it's mainly John really saying this. What are your real intentions to the show? What that means, whether that's just a bit of fan service for us, so that they're sort of talking to us as the audience going, look, we know these people are faking it, but we're trying to like make us feel as if, well, they are being genuine. They are actually looking for people for love. I still, they're all playing a game. They're all feathering their own cap. But yeah, he wasn't as obvious, I didn't think at first. And I didn't like, obviously, Ellie's cousin when he was calling him out. He's got a fucking podcast and all this. But it's just become dead apparent. It's just there. He's already said he's tried to get on the show a few times, and he was so close and things conspired a couple of times. Why would you do that? I mean, have you waited 4 years since you've been trying to get on here to find love? Why have you not found love and think, the only way I can get with someone's to get on MAFS? Bull fucking shit. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is. It's the show. We love calling out these fucking fakers, and he's just another fucking tick. He's just not. He would have been more front and center if we hadn't have had the Collins thing, I think, this week. Collins was the tick for me.
But where do you stand on Ellie, though? Because, like I say, I'm struggling to have sympathy because even though you get this ridiculous Razzie Award-winning performance, she's like, oh, yeah, he said he does want kids now. Oh, fucking brilliant. It's like, come on, are you really that deluded?
But then, is she another Bronte, Dave? Maybe she's a subtle Bronte, not a, you know, you know what I mean? Not a Tory Bronte who wants to just be there. I mean, we're always going to call anyone who's blagging it on this show Bronte, aren't we now? Because she was just ridiculous. But maybe she's just me more subtle. They know the show, don't they? That's why Collins was so upset, because he's thinking, well, I can't go on Love Island because I'm too old. What the fuck am I going to do? I need to go on other TV shows. And he'll probably line up on other shows because of how ridiculous he is. He'd probably get a lot of work off the back of this. Because he's just so stupid, you know. He put in TV adverts like, "Do you remember? You think I'm a bad actor, you know?" And he's fucking there doing some TV advert or something, selling some fucking ute or something, fucking just on a barbecue or something in Australia. It's fucking weird. You just imagine it, Karen. That's not be disrespectful to the Aussies, but you just imagine it. Goes, yeah. Do you remember me from MAFS? No, we don't, mate. We don't remember you, and we don't fucking care.
But I don't know. I reckon he is going to be fairly memorable. He is going to be one of those characters. Definitely more than Ben. I find I always have to look back on the notes and remember that Ben and Ellie are there. But you know, for Collins, he is memorable. So I agree. I mean, but the thing is, these days, so it was like 20 years ago or something, yeah, and you had MAFS at the state it's in now, but transported back, you could see that Collins might get himself. I mean, Natalie even called him out for being, you know, on Neighbours or Home and Away. Personally, don't think that's a slight, but you know, obviously that's in relation to his sort of soap opera acting. But yeah, I think so. That makes him memorable. Whereas Ben, I don't think is memorable. I think we'll have forgotten about him as soon as we move on to the next season.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we'll reference, like we talked about Bronte, we'll reference Collins, because that was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It was just unbelievable, and it was amazing at the same time. So you're right, Dave. You're absolutely right. What about? I mean, even in Jaden, there was a little bit of fallout from his story, wasn't there? They talked about it, what had happened. He has no regrets. But as the week went on, every time you saw him just going off the VT, they seemed quite happy once they got past that, didn't they? He was doing his joke. I mean, I've got to say, Dave, I did sort of think, why have I never done that? When he had two of her high heels in his pocket as if they were guns, like he was Buzz Lightyear or whatever. Buzz Lightyear, Woody. And he was like, "It's your high heels." I was like, "Oh, why have I never done that?" I was like you know, like a little gunslinger or something. Bit pathetic at 45 years old, I know, but I was thinking next time we go out, if Sam's going to wear them, I'm going to put them on my fucking belt clips and my jeans and just go, there you go, you know, reach for the sky, you know, one of them. But yeah, I don't know about them two. It just seemed they were a little bit quiet this week.
You know what I love with these reality shows? We've said it before. Love Island's the most kind of obvious, I think, because they're all trapped in that villa. So, you know, the two people will have a conversation, you know, at one part of the villa, and then they'll walk off and recount the conversation to other people. And depending on how they want the listener to interpret the story, like say someone's cheating or something, they have a bit of a kiss, and then they go off and tell other people and say, "Oh yeah, she kissed me," you know. And then, you know, then it was over. Or what. They are clever with their words. And I say clever. I mean, that's probably not quite the right word, but they are manipulating the words, or using the right words to manipulate the listener. And with the whole Jaden thing, you know, when he has to face the music with the experts and that, you know, he's saying about the story, and he's saying about, you know, my girlfriend had cheated on me with loads of other people. And, you know, essentially, I did the same. I cheated on her. And I was thinking, is that really true? Because that's, you're leaving out the key bit here. You wanted to do it, you know, with the best friend while your ex, or I guess she wasn't her ex, while your girlfriend watched. I think the way he softened the story there was just like to make the experts go, "Oh, that's terrible," you know. So because she cheated on you does not justify you cheating on her. You know, but it was like I wanted him to come clean with the whole fucking story, with the whole Patrick Bateman like fucking story that you wanted her to be literally sat there watching while you plowed her mate. So because for me, that is a different level to just saying, "Oh, I was cheated on, so I cheated on her," kind of thing. That sort of shit probably goes on a lot, but it's just the thing that doesn't happen a lot is the scenario that he described. But again, he's had his come to Jesus moment, hasn't he? He's decided, yeah, he does regret it now. All these years that have gone by, he didn't, but now he does. Now it's on TV.
Yeah. Now we realise what a bell end he is. Yeah, we'll go with that. What about Finger Dave, Cassandra and Tristan? So their relationship just fell apart, hasn't it? She was asked a question. He's very, very insecure about his looks. He said about like his body weight issues and everything. And then, when she was pushed about, do you find him attractive? And eventually she just said no. And she said it's because of it was brutal, but it's because he's self-sabotaging, and he doesn't feel he's good enough for her. He's got a lot of baggage there. She said it's just so draining, and I was so positive on them as a couple. It could swing round because as the week went on, they enjoy each other's company, but I just don't know whether that ship has sailed already now, unfortunately. I don't think you can get that back when you say you're not attracted to somebody.
I am with you. I don't think you can. If you've been from a point, there was an attraction to his kind of. It was almost like, if you retrospectively look back, it was like a nervous energy, wasn't it? At the wedding, he was a bit awkward, a bit goofy, but he was quite loud and apparently confident. But that was all just masking how he really felt, and it was. I say it was brutal. I don't mean Cassandra did nothing wrong there. She was just being truthful, but you just really felt for him in that moment, and it kind of just validates how he sees himself. And so, yeah, I don't know. I kind of felt like they might have moved past a little bit after they'd had their first kiss and stuff, but he just seems to be spiraling, doesn't he? I think, keeping up this kind of mask that he's been wearing, and he's actually on the couch. He said he hated himself, which is horrible. I'm sure, like, there's a lot of people, right? In moments, you'll sort of, or periods, you'll feel like that, but to actually hear someone say it's fucking hard. So I do kind of. I do hold out a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of hope, but I mean, it's an absolute Hail Mary to think that these are going to come back from that. But also, just seeing him kind of descend a bit like that, you almost think, yeah, you probably shouldn't be on the show at this point. Just take yourself out. It is a draining experience, I'm sure. Everyone sort of says it when they come out, don't they? And so I think it's just worn him down. And so, yeah, I don't know where they go from here, Chris.
No, I'm with you. I think you summed it up perfectly, Dave. It's just sad to see. And we'll see. Let's see. There is still hope for him. But the last couple of days was Lauren and Jonathan. So Lauren likes to get involved in everyone else's arguments, doesn't she? And she's got an opinion. Their relationship seems to be going okay, but then there was a few little flashpoints this week, weren't there? Just complete like disagreements, and I didn't understand where she was coming from at times with him. I didn't know what was going on with them, but I don't think they're long term. There's anything there for them to. I think they'll be here for the duration of the show until we get to the proper commitment ceremony at the end.
No, I mean, I do like Lauren's presence on the show, I have to say. Doesn't even need to be in a couple. Just be there and call everyone else out. But I can't help but have that feeling of just like, fuck me, she's hard work. Like, I just couldn't be in Jonathan's shoes and take that shit constantly. But it just seems to be that mismatch, doesn't it? He seems to be so sort of straight-laced and sensible, and she's just, a bit loud and, straight there for as soon as she comes in to the dinner parties and stuff, she's straight in for the bar. Yeah, I just feel like she needs an utter bastard. She'd probably be better with Jack or someone. Although, she apparently hates Jack. And I'm not ruling out that, it's the old rom-com story, isn't it? Like, oh, they hate each other. Oh, they can't stand each other. Oh no, they're now together. So I'm not sort of ruling that out. But yeah, I just think these are a massive mismatch. I just can't see anything happening there.
No, I'm with you, Dave. I think they're a strange couple. They're good dynamic. Like you say, Lauren, we need her because she's always got a comment in her. But from where she came in when she was, obviously it was a nervous energy about being drunk and you know, basically going on about his sister's boobs and all that sort of thing at the reception. And he had to hold her up at one point. But they've been together. They are a couple. Sometimes they surprise you. I can't see it. I just think at the moment there isn't a lot of scandal between them. They're just having a few disagreements here and there. But you need that thing. And he did the same actually. He at the dinner party, I think he was having a pop at it wasn't Jack, was it? He was having a calling one of them out, wasn't he? So let's see what happens. But at the moment, we need them in there as well, because there's obviously going to be intruder couples coming as in the next week or so, maybe even next week. So I've not looked up when that is, but there will be. There should be another 4 people, maybe another 8 people. They did expand it a lot in the UK one. So,
who do you think is going to leave them? Because the intruder couples come in, don't they? Because there's a few couples that have left. We obviously had Collins and Lauren go, but who's next? Do you think on the exit list?
Cassandra and Tristan, I think maybe. And then I don't think Sara and Tim they're going to be there till the death, because she definitely wants to stay for the fame and everything.
Yeah,
we know Tori's the same. Jack, Ben and Ellie possibly could.
See, I think Ben will cling on for dear life, and then so he's always going to write stay, unless it's really it'd have to get really bad. But at the moment, she's drinking the Kool-Aid, isn't she? She's like, oh, fucking brilliant! Ben wants kids now, yay! But yeah, I think you're right. I think Cassandra and Tristan, that's a good call. I'd go with that. It's really sad, but it'd be right if they went.
Yeah, I think so, and I think he'd do the honourable thing with her anyway. Even if he said stay, I don't think he will. I think he will say go. I think it'll just come to. It'll naturally fizzle out, that one. For Dave,
the only before we go into the wind down, the only disappointing thing I think if Tristan went now was he's shown zero growth. So even when the couples don't work, you sort of say, well, look back on this, and then they'll be able to grow from that, or so it's not going to work for this relationship, but you take those lessons and you make the next relationship better. I'd like to see some kind of growth from Tristan, and I just haven't seen it, and so that'd be the biggest disappointment with those two, I think.
That's a fair point, actually. That's a fair point, because his next relationship's got to be the right one, because he can't keep going through this, can he?
Yeah, he's just never going to get. He needs to learn to love himself, doesn't he? Just get the cliches out.
No, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, you're right. Very sensible for us to end the podcast like that, Dave. I like it. We're growing ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, love himself several times a week. There you go. I took it down a notch there.
I was going to say that because you were saying something now. So I was going to say, well, I do try and love myself as best I can. But there you go.
Love yourself regularly.
Yeah, moving on very swiftly. Big thank you to everyone as always. If you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media @cdrealitycast. As always, please get over to Facebook, Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We're actually at 680 friends on there, so we're going to need another 20 people, and we're at 700. So if you know anyone who's listening, or if you are listening, you want to join the Facebook group, please come over there. Massive thank yous to Charlene, as always, for marshalling the Facebook page and moderating. We really appreciate it. Thanks, Charlene. If you do want to drop us a review, Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast on all your podcast catching apps, drop us a review, guys. Good and bad. We love them. If you're poking fun at Dave, I'll definitely read it out. And if you're poking fun at me, then Dave will take great pleasure in reading it out about me. And Dave will put the David Beckham comparison pictures up just for people to understand where these people at BBC were coming from. I completely get it, Dave. I'm now looking for an agent and everything as we speak.
You're going to be like the fucking David Brent agent, aren't you? The lucky likeys.
Yeah, the lucky, nothing like him. But I could be versatile. I could be Gordon Ramsay or David Beckham, Dave. I mean, that's just unbelievable. And maybe even Swayze. But let's just, we'll see. Anyway, if you do want to support us and my new career as David Beckham lookalike, you can get over to patreon.com/CD Realitycast. So, the roll call of honour for today. A massive thank you to everyone who supports us. So big thank you to Sinead, Jessie, Kathleen Sims, Andrew, Nick, Danielle Kim, Amanda, Larissa, Helen, Nicola, Fiona, Cassie, Maggie, Zoe, Gillian, Keith, Helen, Chloe, Joanna, Libby, Katie, Dee Dee, Susan, Hennessy, Lauren, Lucky Lulu Green, and Ken Gustafson. So thank you so much, guys, for your support. Amazing stuff. And I'm about to go and dine out on that story for the rest of the week, Dave. So marvellous stuff.
Excellent. And we've topped the hour, haven't we? I'm not sure. With editing, maybe it'll be a bit less. But no, it's been brilliant to talk about it, hasn't it? I fucking love this show, Chris, and I love talking to you about it. So like a shaking up bottle of pop when I can't talk to you about it for a week. But Chris, I cannot wait to get into the next week as well. So we're going to have another kind of commitment ceremony to kick us off, and then finish the week off with a dinner party, and then we'll have some shit going on, a drama in the middle of the week as well. So can't bloody wait. So thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our listeners. Thanks to all our supporters, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.